Well, we are recording. Happy New Year and welcome to the 2021 year. The only comment I'll say about 2020 is that thank goodness we're done with that. That said, while it is a new year, we're still in the middle of our school year. You don't need me to remind you that we've got 2 weeks left in our first term. So very busy, after a break. Hopefully you all had a wonderful break and did the best you could to take care of yourself and spend time with your loved ones. That's always a priority. So hopefully you did that. But as we came back here now on Monday, we're at the end of the first week of 3 before the first term ends. I got to tell you, we hit the ground running because there's lots to plan for and prepare for. And so today's coffee, we will talk about things that are on our mind. More importantly, what's going to happen as we transition in the third quarter. And certainly we'll talk about the messaging that we've sent out this week in terms of what's happening starting next week on our campus. So before we get there, let's do what we normally do and open up with a welcoming ritual. And so in the chat box, we'll just spend a minute and a half or so doing this. What is your favorite spot in Encinitas? We all live in this awesome community, North County Coastal. I know we all have that favorite spot, the restaurant, the shop, the park, whatever it might be. Where do you go with your family? Where do you take your dog for a walk? Where do you go to just catch a little bit of peace of mind? Yeah.
I was out at Swami's yesterday morning taking a walk with my cousin.
Weekends, Ethan, I agree with you. That's my spot. Love weekends. I love walking down to the beach for weekends. Just the switch back there, I always run into somebody that I know. It's awesome. Well, anywhere on the beach, that's for sure. All right. Well, thanks for participating in our welcoming ritual. Like I said, the things we're going to cover, if you wouldn't mind going to the agenda. Yeah. We've got our typical announcements. We've got our typical announcements with ASB, Counseling Foundation, our Bridge Committee, of course. We'll get a quick update on athletics. And then we'll get into district updates. And then, of course, the supports that we're offering for our students. So that said, I'd like to transition to our first slide and welcome Alexa Mendez, our ASB president, for the last time in this capacity. And just before you go, Alexa, just a heartfelt thank you. You're an incredible young lady that has the future at her fingertips. The legacy you're leaving behind here is one that will be remembered always. And so we wish you the best. I know, you've got a semester left or term left, but the impact you've had here on our students and our community will forever be remembered. And just, I can't thank you enough and express how much gratitude I have for all of your effort. You're amazing. I think you'll be president someday, period. So with that said, and I know Ethan's here, but I'll let you introduce Ethan as part of your deal, okay? So welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Camacho. It's been such an honor to serve, and I couldn't be more excited to welcome Ethan to this position for next semester. So for this last time, I will go ahead and kick us off with some recent happenings that ASB has been putting on, and then I'll hand it over to Ethan for our upcoming events and how we can stay involved. So first, at the beginning of the month of December, we hosted our annual SDA Bazaar. This year, it looked a little bit different. We had a 2-day event. So the first day was completely virtual, much like our club fair at the beginning of October, where there were different Google Meet links for each vendor. And people had the opportunity to sell things that they made. So that included things like stickers or other jewelry. Also, there were books that I wrote. I was selling there too as well. And it was a really great way for our students to get to recognize our other students for the great things that they are making and accomplishing. And staff members were also there to support our students. The candidates who were running for office were also given the opportunity to campaign during the bazaar, as they usually do, this time only in the virtual aspect of the event. And then on the second day in person, the vendors you can see in the left-hand picture with the bell tower. That's where we were on campus the following day. And people who bought things or wanted to buy things could come to campus, and the vendors were there socially distant with masks and gloves, taking precautions, but also there to provide their goods and services. Another main event that we had in the month of October was our Adopt a Family. Again, one of our favorite events to put on since it's something that connects us to our broader community. And this year we were able to adopt 24 families, which was absolutely incredible to see the outpouring of generosity from our entire community at SCA, especially with clubs, homerooms, individuals, and everything in between. So we're incredibly grateful we were able to give gifts to 97 people this holiday season and really make it special for them. So when we had our gift drop-off, it was a combined event with our monthly projection night. So we had the movie Elf playing in the background along with some holiday music. Our ASB helpers, you can see on the right-hand side in that picture, are wearing holiday little hats and headbands and things like that to make it extra festive, wearing ugly sweaters. We had elves on the shelf. Mr. Pompeo was one of those elves for us. And it was really a great event. And we handed out hot chocolate that was prepackaged, as well as some candy canes. So it really brought our community together. And then the following week, we were able to pack up an entire U-Haul with all of the gifts, including many bikes, as you can see in the bottom picture. And we delivered those to the Salvation Army in Oceanside, which was the organization that we were working with. Game Pigeon was another event that we had during the month of October. We usually have a ping pong tournament, so this is our way of replicating that in a virtual format. So what it was essentially one person would text a game over to another person. This time we played 8-ball. So they would make their move, text it to the person they were competing against, who would then make their move and text it back and forth until they had a winner, and the bracket continued like that. Then we had a non-school sponsored light show discount at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Even though it wasn't a school-sponsored event, it was awesome to be able to provide a little discount for our students who might be interested in celebrating the holidays by looking at these lights. As an SDA tradition, the first day back after winter break, we also hosted a PJ day, since it might be a little trickier for students to get up, knowing that their sleep schedule might have been just a little bit different over break. So we were excited to do that again this year and keep the tradition running. Lastly, our main event from December were our elections. So we had elections for all of the executive officer team, which included president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary, as well as our director positions. So that would be our sophomore, junior, and senior directors. And each person who ran for those positions are in the grade ahead of time since that term takes place next year. For example, our freshmen were running for sophomore directors. For our elections, we had a couple weeks of campaigning. We had posts on our SDA Student Life Instagram story. We had slideshows on our 2 school-wide Google Classrooms. And each day after school leading up to the nomination convention speeches, we had Q&A panels with each of the candidates running for officer positions, and those conversations were led by our current officers. So it's a great way to get connected with our student body. Even though there are limited opportunities, we still made the most of having them connect and even get to know our students on a deeper level, getting to know them, like how they like to eat their Oreos and also what they want to do as an executive officer. So this was an awesome election season. We had the highest voter turnout we've ever had. We had 1,068 votes, which is more than half of our student body. It was absolutely wonderful to see how many people were getting involved and wanting to make a difference. So with that, our new ASB executive officer team consists of Ella Decking for secretary, Lucas Casaza for treasurer, Joy Rupert for vice president, and Ethan Fitzgerald for president. So before I hand it over to Ethan, I just wanted to thank you all once again for this incredible opportunity of serving over this past year. 2020 was quite the whirlwind, but I couldn't be more graciously humbled to be a part of helping trying to keep our community connected during this time. So thank you so much for the opportunity. It has been an absolute honor to serve. And I could not be more pleased to welcome in Ethan Fitzgerald, who I have worked very closely with as he is currently the vice president and was the first freshman treasurer. So Ethan has tons of experience and he's going to do an amazing job. So without further ado, Ethan, take it away.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Alexa. And I've told her this so many times, but I really do have big shoes to fill. And the opportunity of being able to serve as vice president, I've been able to learn from Alexa. I've been able to be amazed literally every time she speaks. So for that, I am very grateful. Sorry, Alexa, by the way, could you keep sharing your presentation? Because I have a Chromebook and I'm not sure if it's going to be able to load on here, but thank you. And also, I just want to reiterate that the turnout she was discussing in regard to the election, I think that's a really good thing. More students getting involved, and we had a really active campaign, which got more people interested in recognizing the importance of being connected during this difficult time. So that's, again, really great. And the incoming executive officers, we're all really good friends already, and we're going to be able to use that friendship to connect more students, which I'm really looking forward to. So I think that's a great thing. So to start off with, for upcoming events, we have a new officer Q&A. So basically this will be a 30-minute segment where we'll be able to ask the incoming executive officers questions so that the student body will get to know them better, so that they can feel comfortable coming to executive officers if they have any questions, or if they don't feel connected, or if they have any suggestions, whatever it may be, because we think it's very important that people know who their executive officers are and know that there's someone who will have their back. Additionally, right now we're planning the winter assembly, which the current class is planning, and it is next Friday, or a week from now exactly. For this assembly, we're going to be doing things like a student life video where we're going to be checking in with 2 students from each grade to see how they're managing during this time. We're going to be starting it off with a countdown from homerooms or classes where everyone's going to be able to say a number starting from 15. And we thought this would be a good idea. Maybe it'll be a bit difficult, but to see more students, to see people, a sense of connection. We're also doing things like a national anthem being played by a band. So we're trying to think of outside ideas to manage during this time to keep people interested and to keep people engaged. And then finally, for our upcoming events, we're looking to put on a chess tournament so we can connect as many students as possible through as many avenues as possible. So we're looking to do that through multiple ways. And there's more to come next semester, which we're planning right now, which we're setting up ideas for. And I really look forward to the opportunity to serve as president, to communicate with all of you, to just continue to learn from Alexa during these last 2 weeks, and to use that knowledge, hopefully moving forward, to be a successful president. And I look forward to, again, communicating with all of you. So thank you very much.
Awesome, Ethan. Congratulations again. Very nicely done, you guys. Appreciate you very much. You're the heart of why we're all here. And I know that even just a simple but thorough presentation that, much like you just did, warms the hearts of our families. So you guys are incredible, and it's an honor to serve you guys. So good job. All right, moving on. Ms. Vicky De Jesus, our head counselor.
Great, thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Before I get started with the slide, just want to pause, and lots going on in our school community. Here very shortly, lots going on in our nation. And just a quick reminder to check in with your students. They may be seeing lots of things, social media, in the news, and maybe confused, maybe angry, lots of different feelings. And certainly, being an active listener right now is extremely helpful. You don't need to have the answers, but just checking in, listening to them, asking those just real general questions. I know, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are some of the things that you and your friends are talking about related to the things you're hearing in the news, or, et cetera, the list of things going on for them right now. Continue to take care of yourselves. You're doing a lot, and we know that you're supporting your students the best you can. And and reach out to us if you need additional assistance and support. Please reach out to us. So in the world of counseling, lots and lots going on. We are continuing to work with our seniors. We have mid-year transcripts coming up that we will process for them as soon as second quarter grades are available. So that is usually available the second week of February. So as soon as we get those final grades, we will then start automatically sending out those mid-year transcripts. And we do still have, quite honestly, some students who are still reaching out to us because they're applying late to some universities. And so they need transcripts, they need letters of recommendation. So we're continuing to work with our seniors. The reality is that in this year, we're seeing a lot of universities that have extended their application deadlines. So it gives our students an opportunity to continue their research process. And in that, part of that process involves certainly reaching out to the counselor so that we can support them with the various documents they need. So we're still working with lots and lots with our seniors right now. For this month, I really wanted to highlight communication and make sure that you were aware that we are providing lots of different types of communication on different types of platforms. So I wanted to just highlight for you. We've got our counseling website, which we update regularly. There's right on the front page, there's announcement slides. We've posted how to communicate, or if you want to set up a meeting with your counselor, there's a form you fill out. We've also placed already on there ways, or the form to request a change for second semester. And I know an email went out to all families. Just FYI, your classes are not available. Can't see your classes on Aries, so don't spend a lot of time looking for them. But if you have a question about it, reach out to your counselor. And we're processing that form. So we're doing that right now as well. We are communicating through the weekly email news. So I placed a link on this. I don't know if you're aware or how many people are on it, but just a quick reminder that that's an excellent way to keep up on the weekly news. We place various different type of announcements in that. So that's another way to get honed in on what's going on with counseling. And we also have an Instagram account. And so we'll post various different types of announcements, reminders there as well. We started, in fact, this week, our virtual drop-in hours. So an opportunity. So if we were in person, our students would come to us at lunch, before school, after school. And so this is a way to replicate that. So we have open hours virtually, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So no appointment necessary, no communication, just drop in. We've placed the Meet information and links on our counseling website right on the front page. So that's a way for students to access us as well. And we are continuing still to meet with students and parents regarding academic and social emotional concerns. So that's ongoing as well. So that's a little bit glimpse of what's happening in our office in the month of January. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Appreciate that very much. We know you guys are busy, and a heartfelt thank you to you and your team and all the support staff over at Student Services. You definitely are the engine that supports all things that happens in the classroom, and you know the support for individuals needs to be there so that they can be in a good place to go and learn. And so we appreciate your work. Next is Leslie Saldana, our Executive Director of our foundation.
Good morning. Thank you, Principal Camacho. And thank you, Ms. De Jesus. I really appreciate you acknowledging the consequential week that we've had in a variety of ways, and appreciate that, and the encouragement about the communication with your students that may be at home with you, as well as maybe even your post-high school students that are not at home, and kind of trying to process it all. So thank you, a great reminder. So good morning. Just real quickly, wanted to wish everyone a happy new year, and hope this all finds you well. And just to touch on a couple of things that we have. Yes, we're halfway through the school year, but there's something about a new year, about starting fresh and whatnot. So just a chance to reiterate the opportunities that we have to connect, even if we can't be together physically. We had such a nice response to our year-end campaign through Giving Tuesday, as well as through our end of year. And I had a chance to talk with many of you that were able to make a contribution. And we all kind of talked about missing that connection of physically being able to connect. So I just wanted to point out a couple of different ways that you can do that through our social media presence. And we have some fabulous volunteers that keep all of that information out there and available. So really encourage you to seek that out. I know Ms. De Jesus talked about the weekly email. We reach about 2,500 different emails each Friday. We have a very high open rate and click rate. And so it's great. It's a great source of information. So really encourage you to seek that out on Friday afternoons. And then just real quickly, a couple of opportunities. There is an online practice SAT and ACT that's coming up this month. There'll be information about it in this afternoon's eBlast. And then a variety of our groups and clubs and booster groups are continuing to fundraise as best they can. And so we have quite a few businesses in our community that are making that option available. So again, the information will be available in Friday's eBlast. There's one coming up to support theater. There's one for music and several of our sports teams. So really encourage you to do that as well. And it just feels, from all the news that I've been watching this week, it feels right to say I yield back my time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So next is Kelly McCormick from the Bridge Committee.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to invite everyone to check out the Bridge Committee. You may know us from the family forums. We recently sponsored one on vaping, and we've done healthy relationships, positive communication, stress reduction, lots of really great topics. And so we welcome new student members and parent members as well, because part of the fun of this community is bringing people together. And we have members who are alumni and past, parents whose students have graduated, as well as we really see students bloom who join this committee because they get a chance to be in a comfortable, supportive atmosphere, express their thoughts, take on responsibility, do public speaking. And a lot of them start out kind of quiet and shy, and by the time they've been with us for a while, they are public, speaking at the family forums and coordinating things, and it's just a lot of fun. So we invite anyone who would like to join us for our next meeting. We'll be on Zoom on January 14th at 5:15, and my email is on there. If you'd like to shoot me an email, I can send you the Zoom link, and just wish everyone a happy start to the new year.
Great, thank you. You know what? I'm so rusty. Kelly, thank you so much. I appreciate the information and your partnership and the education, that you're involved with our parents is absolutely amazing. I love the relationship. It serves an important purpose, and it would be a mistake for me not to acknowledge that again. You're part of the family, and what you do is very, very meaningful, and just a heartfelt thank you. I did, like I said, I'm rusty. I didn't even introduce myself. I didn't introduce my incredible assistant principals that are sitting around this table. But anyway, just for the record, my name is Adam Camacho, and it's an honor to be the principal here at SDA. And next is Miss Katie Bendix, one of the assistant principals, and she's got the next slide.
All right. Thank you, Adam. So wanted to provide some brief updates on athletics at SDA and within our district and our county. So on December 14th, the state released some guidance for youth sports that CIF then followed up with another communication a few days just following that. So right before our break, we gained some information about what kind of to expect and what communication to expect in the days and weeks to come. So looking at our general area, the very first day that any competition would be approved is January 25th. And that said, any athletic activities and competitions would have to align with the tier that our county is currently in on that January 25th date. So looking at January 25th, if we are in the purple tier, then our cross country team will be able to start their practicing Right now, we do have cross country and baseball and coming soon, girls basketball clubs that will be participating in conditioning on campus, which is different from practice. That is outdoors. It's more focused on running, reconnecting, getting back into shape to prevent any injuries once seasons do start and we're approved to start actually practicing. So we're super excited to be welcoming these clubs and athletic credit for PE opportunities on our campus. Our coaches are working really closely with Scott Jordan, our athletic director, and myself to make sure that all safety measures are in place. Our facilities are being used by those clubs that are comprised of SDA students only. And it's just really fun to see kids on campus practicing, conditioning, following all of the guidelines. You can see their smiles under their masks though. So if you have any additional questions about athletics, I'm happy to send over some of the CIF guidance. I'll kind of just monitor the chat on the side and provide you guys any information as requested. Thank you, thank you.
Great. There we go. There's a slide there. Okay, so let's dive right into the meat. And I think this is important that we've had some questions. We want to make sure we're as clear as possible, and as always, we're committed to answering all of your questions and committed to taking care of our site based on just decisions that are made that impact us. So as you know, on December 28th, our Board of Trustees had an emergency board meeting, at which point the decision was made to pause the January 4 expanded reopening as we had surveyed for, planned for, and were prepared for. And as we've communicated in the days following that and through the new year, obviously we are not open as was planned. So we are paused. Obviously the next important decisions really are around a couple things. I'll get to the interim in a second because that's one of them. But the biggest question is, when will we open? And what's going to happen for Q3? We've heard that repeatedly. We're asking the same questions. We need to know. We want some guidance so that we can, as we always do, prepare as best we can with safety at the forefront for all our staff and students. So those decisions are still need to be made. There is a planned board meeting, I believe Thursday, January 14, which is next week. So we're all on the same boat in terms of just waiting to see what the direction is going to be. If any other news comes out from the state in terms of guidance for school opening, obviously we'll be closely connected to that information. And as always, as soon as we synthesize it and can determine what in fact it means for our school community, we will communicate as quickly as possible and as often as possible. So bear with us. I know that you're getting a lot of communication from a lot of different entities at a school site. And many of you have children at the middle school or perhaps at another high school as well. And so I'm just encouraging you and reminding you to please open everything that gets sent your way, because not only are we planning for reopening at some point, reopening here in the current school year, we are also planning now, this is a season of articulation, so we're already looking and planning for 21-22. And with that comes all of the meetings that you might imagine, the tours and so on. So all of that is going to happen virtually this year because there's just no other option. And so we are prepared for that season. That said, the immediate focus obviously is on what is next. So in the interim, and what we've been tasked with, so while the expanded reopening was paused, what we are asked to do is continue doing what we have been doing since October, and that's providing opportunities on campus for our students. And while we've shared with you in the past, there's a whole list of things that are happening. We'll get there in a second. I want you to know that while this is not ideal and there's varying opinions out there, we are prepared and we always move on what we are asked to do by our board trustees. I serve in this seat, the superintendent, and when I have directives and guidance, I plan with my team and with our talented teachers and certificated and classified staff, and we execute. I've been very proud of what we've been able to do, and I know it's been kind of this go and stop and pivot and whatnot, and I feel confident that every step of the way, as frustrating and all the other feelings that might come with that have been, we've been there at the forefront and ready for every turn. So, and that doesn't happen without the support of our community. So we appreciate you reaching out. We appreciate your questions. It keeps us all informed and at the top of our game, and that's exactly how we're approaching these next 2 weeks. So that said, I'm going to pass the baton to Dr. Barnett.
All right, so my name is Celeste Barnett. I am one of the assistant principals. The alpha breakdown that I serve is the middle of the alphabet. I'm last name's H through N. So as Adam said, let me back a step. We want to know who needs support. And one of the things that has been most, I guess, frustrating for us is it's hard for us to know when the kids aren't here on campus, right? We usually depend on body language in the classroom, where they walk into the counseling office or they reach out to a pal, and it's harder through the computer to see who might be struggling. So we are extremely dependent on you. We are asking you to please let us know if your child is suffering. Don't suffer in silence. We do have many things we can do, and like Adam said, we're figuring out new things with you. You're giving us ideas of additional ways that we can support. And so a new feature, a new way that you can reach out and let us know, super, super easy, we're calling it the button. There is a hot link on the front of every school in the district's website. And it looks exactly like this blue bar that's on the screen now. It says request online support for students. Again, it's on the front web page of every school in our district. It's the same form. So if you have a student here and a student at Oakcrest, you can fill out that one form. It'll get to, you need to do it twice, but anyway, it's the same form. So this is, what it will ask you is just a few simple questions, just for your name, your kid's name, and then you have 3 options, and you can check 1 of them, 2 of them, 3 of them. It's just gonna ask, are you looking for on-campus support for social and emotional reasons or for academic reasons? Are you interested in learning more about extracurricular activities that might be meeting on campus? So please know that that is there. You can certainly reach out to us by email or whatever works for you. We're just trying to make it as easy as possible. And then what Katie and Jeremy and I are doing, and all of the assistant principals at all of the schools in the district, is we're reaching out, we're responding to each of those submissions. We're calling the family, and if we're lucky, the kid gets on the phone too. It makes us extremely happy to hear kids' voices as well. And we just talk through, what's going on, how can we help? And if we go to the next screen here, if you don't mind, Katie, I'm going to turn this over shortly to Ms. Ann Nebelon, one of our counselors. She's going to address many of the things that are already in place. She's going to talk about the social emotional things. Dr. Meadows is going to talk about extracurriculars, and I'm going to address academics. So I will now turn over the mic to Ann Nebelon.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Ann Nebelon, one of the counselors. I have Alpha A through FE, plus our Seaside Prep students. Those are students with high emotional need through special education. So one of the best programs we have, as many of you know, is our PALS program. That's Peer Assistance Listeners. And there's been a big shift because of doing things virtually, and they are available virtually, and we just set them up. It comes through me, set it up as a G-Meet. So they have been meeting with students, and they really do provide probably the strongest peer support that we could possibly give them, because they're trained to talk with kids, and they really can talk about anything. It stays confidential unless, of course, the student talks about something serious. And that's why I'm available every time they're meeting virtually, that I can jump into the meet with them if needed. So they're well-trained kids. They all have big hearts. They're super accepting. And it's pretty easy. We have a request to see a PAL form, which is kind of all over the place on all the websites and everything. I added a link here on this slide. And once that request comes in, I personally review them and reach out to that student first to see if they're willing to see a PAL. And then I added a link to the PAL's website. And the reason I did this is because the PALs also do a ton of classroom presentations. Like so far this year, they've done suicide prevention, which that information went to every single student. And then they did a stress less day, which were teachers could opt in to do classroom presentations. And we usually have quite a few of them. So most students do hear these presentations some point in the day. And then they did a healthy relationships day. And coming up next Thursday, they're doing kindness and acceptance. We try to have an event every month. The only months we don't are December and June. So there's some kind of educational event, classroom presentation. Sometimes there's a lunch seminar for kids as part of it. But then we put all of those presentation slides on our PAL's website. So it is something that you as parents can go back. You can use this information as discussion starters, because sometimes maybe you don't know how do I talk about this or what should I say. And this can be like, hey, let's sit down and look at this. I'm worried about your relationship. Let's take a look and see, I want to see how I can help you. So I put a link to the website on there too. It's all of that is on the counseling website, easy to access. Starting on Monday, we will have 2 PALs alternating. One will be Monday, Wednesday, one will be Tuesday, Thursday for first and second period and the first part of lunch. And then they need time to drive home. So get to their third period class. But they're going to be available for kids that are on our campus already in our learning hubs to access them and have somebody right there to talk to, which I think is awesome, and super excited about it. The 2 PALs doing it that volunteered to do it are really excited to be helping more. They always want to help more. So we're hoping, as we go into third quarter that we can continue that kind of support. At the very least, they will continue virtually. And so that support is there. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Jeremy Meadows. I'm an assistant principal at SDA. My alphabet that I serve is the last name A through G, so the beginning of the alphabet. So any students and parents who have questions in that alphabet, please reach out to me. We do have a variety of extracurricular and clubs happening on SDA's campus, online and in person. We really encourage you, once we put out this presentation and to visit our website, to view our club list from ASB. We want kids to find something to do outside of their classes. If there's something interesting to them, please try to reach out and join that club. Maybe there's an opportunity for them to come onto campus or participate online. If you are interested in starting a club that doesn't exist, that's fine too. We have a process for that, and I would just advise you to take a look at the ASB website for how to do that. Or email your assistant principal or ASB teacher for questions or advice on that. In addition to our clubs, we have activities happening on our campus that are in the afternoon, that are in person. While it's not a giant list and fully exhaustive of what we offer at SDA, there are opportunities for kids to come onto campus and participate in person in that afternoon time. So thank you very much, and I'll monitor the chat for any questions.
Awesome, and this is Celeste Barnett again. So in regards to some of the ways, especially as we're getting close to the end of the fall term now, we don't have that many teachers that do actual finals, but they do end of unit tests and things like that. So as we're getting close to an important grading period, kids start to panic a little bit about the academics. So I just wanted to remind you of some things that are in place already. The first place to go always is directly to the teacher. Have your student, they love it when the kid reaches out instead of the parent. Have your student email the teacher and ask, do you let kids do test corrections on their tests, or is there a retake opportunity? Or, teachers have been extremely flexible in my experience during this pandemic about accepting late work and things like that. So sure doesn't hurt to ask. They all have office hours, virtual drop-in office hours, and then they'll also do individual office hours. So reach out to the teacher, number one. We have a fabulous writing lab that is underwritten by our foundation. We have a SDA grad who will work one-on-one with your kid on writing assignments. And it doesn't have to be just in English. I mean, he will help with chemistry lab write-ups, anything. And seriously, one-on-one writing coaching. So on our school and foundation website, you can see a link to how to sign up for writing lab support. Another fabulous free resource is our National Honor Society students, and also our Japanese National Honor Society students do free tutoring. They are amazing kiddos. They'll do it after school during that student learning and support time. Tremendous. And so we can direct you to that as well. And then PALS, in addition to helping with friendship issues or parent issues or social emotional things that might be going on, they're really good about supporting with executive functioning types of things. So they can help kids with organization, with time management, with study tips, that kind of thing. When we're on campus, they will actually take a kid's binder and go through it with them, or give them a new binder and give them tabs to divide the pages and help them get organized. It's a really, really great resource. So think about that. And then, as Ann and Vicki both mentioned, 4-year planning with your counselor. Learning Hub, I think we've addressed that already. That's support and intervention that we're doing currently for students who have more high-level need right now, especially in the academic realm. So reach out to your administrator if you're interested in learning more about that. And I see ... So that means it's now Ms. Bendick's turn.
Sure, yeah, and so kind of our last bullet point in that academic realm is designated common areas that some of you may have received an email with a detailed description of what that looks like. So starting on Monday, January 11th, we are opening an opportunity for students to come to campus to participate in their distance learning on campus in a designated common area. We have 4 designated areas on campus, and that would be a supervised group of students outdoors engaging in their distance learning. So who may join us for this opportunity? Anyone that's interested is welcome to join us. Those that expressed interest in a return to campus in our original survey that went out November 16th and closed on November 30th, we directly reached out to those families because we're still in Q2 right now. Now, we reached out to them because this model is different than the model that we surveyed our families. So we wanted to know, with this change, are you still interested in returning? Now, some of those families have opted not to return in this current model, and that's more than fine. We will again resurvey if our model does change to provide an opportunity for our students to access campus. Now, this option may possibly be offered as a part of a plan for any student who submitted that on-campus support form that Dr. Barnett was just explaining. So as assistant principals are making phone calls, if it's something that might be an appropriate support for a student to come to campus, that option is being suggested and offered. So what this looks like is a 1 time per week campus access in one of those 4 designated common areas. And students will be engaging in their distance learning following our distance learning bell schedule. So students will not be going into classrooms for in-person instruction with their teachers. They will be in a common area on their Chromebooks engaging with their teachers online. We will have SUHSD staff, certificated substitutes, and some of our classified substitutes. Campus supervisors will be out and about. The 4 of us will be out and about all day, checking in with students, visiting, making sure everyone's dialed in. I will copy over the link to the map so that you have a visual of where students will be located on campus. And this model will run at least through the end of Q2. So Q2, we only have about 2 weeks left, and we say at least through Q2 because we're still awaiting some guidance on our Q3 model. As soon as we do have some of that guidance, we'll know if this model will carry into Q3 or if we'll resurvey with some sort of different model in place. But I can assure you that at that Q3 mark, we will be reaching out, communicating with our families well before so that you can make an educated decision about what's best for your student and your family. Now, in terms of the logistics of this model, of course, safety is always paramount. We do all of our planning with safety at the forefront. Our students that will be joining us on campus will be participating in a daily symptom screening. That symptom screening is now through a website that can be downloaded as an app on your phone. We have 2 entrances that students can join us, either in the lower student parking lot or this main lot here. And students will show that they have completed the online symptom screening before they can head to their designated common area. Masks must be worn at all times, and 6 feet of distance must be maintained at all times as well. We will have tables and chairs available for students. Students are encouraged to, if they want to bring their beach chair, if they want to bring a towel, get comfortable, keep it funky. But we will have some appropriate setups for students. We will have extension cords with plugs for power for those Chromebooks. And all of that said, as students are learning in their common area, it's absolutely paramount that they remain in their assigned area. Students should not be moving back and forth between different designated areas, and we'll be sure that all staff members are helping enforce that. That's for staff and student safety. All safety precautions that were previously in place on our campus, the hand washing stations, all of our PPE that's available to both students and staff will be made available in this model. And yes, we do have face masks here on campus. If anyone's mask breaks or becomes, disruptive to their learning, we have many available, and they can just tell an adult, and we'll be sure to get those over to them. Some other details: students should bring any items for comfort. Water, our water fountains and our fill stations are currently turned off. We have a couple on campus that are active. But that is to prevent the spread of germs. So please bring your own water, snacks. We have both breakfast and lunch that will be available for students through nutrition services for free. So if your student is interested in that, they don't need to bring their own lunch, but of course they're more than welcome to. Students must stay on campus for lunch, and again, must stay in their designated area for lunch, aside from accessing the Mosaic for nutrition services, and that's to prevent, any commingling between student groups. And students must remain on campus all day. So if a student does need to leave early, a parent will need to contact the attendance office either by phone or by email. That there is it's really for your students' safety. If they do need to leave campus, we need to make sure that a parent is aware that they're leaving campus. And then, of course, if your student has an unscheduled period, they're welcome to either leave early or come late if they have a free first period. I am seeing some questions over in the chat. Okay, wonderful. So I have received some questions about, if my student opts to participate in this and is joining us on Wednesday, and has some friends coming on Wednesday as well, can they be in the same designated area? What I would encourage is to have your student, when they check in with either our campus supervisors or one of us for their symptom screening, let us know, and we can perhaps have them wait for their friend, and we can do what we can this first week to ensure that they're, able to be where they want to be and with who they want to be. But after those student groups are set, we're not going to be able to kind of move students around. Our goal is to preserve those student groups just for safety and avoiding any commingling.
Can I answer just a couple questions out loud, because they come up in different ways? As far as mixing groups and all that kind of thing, what I would say is the day that the student comes is the same day they were previously assigned by Alpha. So if you had elected previously for your student to come back, it's generally the very, very beginning of the alphabet is on Monday, and then the next group on Tuesday, and kind of the middle of the alphabet is Wednesday, etc. We're maintaining that for one reason, just to not have yet another change that is confusing to everybody. And it sort of helps, it helps us distribute the kids more evenly over the number of days. We're trying to minimize the number of kids on campus each day for transmission and cohort tracing, contact tracing, that kind of thing. We don't know yet how many kids are going to be here, and we're certainly tracking it as far as how many kids we're expecting on Monday of next week. Once we know exactly how many kids to expect on Monday, and you RSVP, somebody asked again how to RSVP, a couple of ways. There is an RSVP-ish link in the letter that you received from Mr. Camacho. You can also hit that sort of magic button that we talked about on the website, or you can reach out directly to your assistant principal. Any way you want to get hold of us, let us know you want them to come. A really good question has been raised multiple times about if we're trying to help kids get to know each other, especially freshmen who don't know each other, why don't we do things by grade level? We're trying to figure out how we can do more things by grade level. It's not possible as far as the pod days to do it by grade level, but perhaps we might be able to divide kids. We haven't even gotten this far. We haven't talked about it. I'm looking at my colleagues and they're like, we haven't talked about this. Maybe if we have enough freshmen coming on Monday, maybe we could put them in a smaller cohort together, and then a sophomore cohort and a junior cohort, etc. on that day. We can certainly be flexible and creative in that way. I love that idea.
Okay. I see questions. Okay, are we up to date on questions?
Yeah, I don't have the alphabet list split memorized. Do you know it?
I do know it. A through DE is Monday. DI through K is Tuesday. L through Q
I got it.
is Wednesday.
I got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Monday.
All right. So really quickly, Susan, I see the survey only has a yes option, because if you're opting not to join us, you don't need to fill that out. We didn't want to have an extra step for everyone. So that's just kind of the RSVP to let us know that your student will be here so that we can plan to welcome them. But if you do not plan on sending your student next week, then you don't need to fill that out. Good question.
I think it's important to note again that we do not know what's going to happen for the third quarter yet. If there's a new plan or a new model, as has been promised many times, we will go back out. We'll have to educate again. We'll do another town hall meeting or two if we have to. We'll obviously communicate in writing on our website and all of our platforms. But there is no disadvantage at any point for any student that chooses they want to come back now or maybe not later. Whatever it might be, there's always an opportunity to access learning from on campus. And we'll make sure to communicate exactly what the plan is. And if we need to go back out and survey everybody, which I anticipate we'll have to do at some point, then you can expect that. No one's going to be the disadvantage. That's really the main point there. I think these are some of the questions that I've been getting in my email. And then also, I think there was a question or two about that in the survey. Okay.
There's one question, Katie, about notifications. Could you just remind people what the process is if we have a COVID positive case, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Celeste was explaining in the chat, and we were explaining here, our priority is to keep our students in a stable group, and that is for our notification and contact tracing process. So if a student or family does notify us that their student was tested positive for COVID, our district nurse and health tech will work with the family to identify any possible close contacts. And those close contacts will then be contacted with a very specific close contact notification. All students within the student group that had possible exposure were not close contacts, but were in that group will be notified of a possible exposure. Now, all of that said, of course, to meet HIPAA and FERPA laws, we're not going to be able to share any specific student names, but our district nurse and our health tech will be working closely with families if we do receive news of a COVID positive case.
And then Adam, the big question, of course, is what about Q3? Come up multiple times.
Yeah, so again, we're, as I mentioned previously, we're waiting to see what happens in that January 14th school board meeting. I mean, we're all expecting to have some definite guidance at that point. There's a lot of work, as you can imagine, a lot of communication coming down from the state right now. And as if you haven't heard, our county is now aligned with the state in terms of the colored tiers. So you know, again, we're all just waiting for guidance. We're prepared, as we have been all year, just with contingency plans. And as soon as we get the go, we will communicate what our plan is and be prepared. And you have my commitment on that. That said, I mean, literally the clock just struck 9 a.m. and it's been a jam-packed hour. It makes me more thankful that we're actually recording this presentation and making it available to you again for your review. And just as importantly, for anybody else who couldn't join us today. So we will send this out in a recap through Signal Kit, which is our information system communication to all families. We'll probably do that this afternoon. And that said, let's just move on to the last slide. So here's some obviously just critical reminders. This was, if there was one message you heard today, it's reach out to us. We are here for you. We've been here for your students. Again, while this whole thing is not ideal, I'm very proud of the work that our teachers and our staff, our classified staff, are doing to serve kids. And we know that there are some kids, some students out there that are struggling one way or another, and maybe it's been, you know, at certain times throughout the school year. I want you to know, and as I've said all along, our student support services systems and entities have been available. They are ready to continue to serve your students and help guide them so that they can be at their best when they're in the classrooms with their teachers so that they can learn. So we are here for you. Just a reminder, please reach out. I know it's, the APs and I have had a lot of great conversations with families. And you know, sometimes it takes a half an hour or even an hour. And that's time well spent. I think it's important that we keep listening to each other and communicating. That's, you know, that we continue to lock arms and just kind of tread through this as carefully with safety at the forefront and keeping our kids' education in mind. So that's our commitment. As Dr. Barnett covered, we have the button on our website. You can't miss it. It's a big rectangle button, blue button, as we showed you earlier. So if your student if you want your student to have an opportunity to get on campus, please go there, select the button, and complete the survey. And you know, as has been mentioned, obviously I would say that most of us, if not all, we're happy that the 2020 year is over. With just the unrest and things that are happening in our nation right now, I'm reminded more so to remind all of you and myself, just let's be kind to one another. Let's take care of our family that is this amazing SDA community. And let's do our best. Let's put our best foot forward. And I just don't see any other way. And you have, again, my commitment. It's an honor to protect our school community, and with the guidance and the directives that we get, to keep moving forward in the best and safest way possible. And that's what I will continue to do as principal of SDA. With that said, happy Friday, happy New Year. Wishing you all a fantastic weekend. Do something nice for yourself. And as we head into our optimistic closure, in the chat box, if you would, what is the one thing you took away from our time together this morning? One thing, a bullet point, one word, one sentence, however you'd like to express yourself. We really would appreciate you participating in our optimistic closure. Want to thank our staff members, and again, Leslie, Alexa, Kelly, Ethan, Vicki, Ann, all staff members, everyone who presented today. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support.